Welcome back to another episode of the Finance Bible podcast. Zeke here.
And your co-host, Oscar. But before we get into it, please note that nothing in this podcast should ever be considered as personal financial advice.
Of course, if that is what you are seeking, reach out, we'll get you in touch with the correct professionals, get the job done properly.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Let's get into it. Today we're going to be discussing the top 15 highest paying jobs in Australia. So simple, easy, 15 jobs, the highest paying based on average salary. Let's jump into it. Starting off at number 15, a computing professional security specialist. This wage, $135,739, does actually look very similar to clients we have in that field.
Yeah, it does. IT professionals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good wicket. And there are a lot of them out there. And I think right now with artificial intelligence and technology spaces get more and more important. But at the same time, it's a bit of a risk for people in this industry with keeping their jobs. So wouldn't be surprised if we look back in this in 5 years, this probably won't be on the list.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I think it will be. I think it'll maintain it because as much as AI will come in, I think that people are going to have to find a way to combat with it and basically be able to identify when things are happening. It's a weird one. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know.
But whether they stay in
Or not.
actual security of, hacks and that kind of thing, or if they actually just turn into something to do with data strictly, I don't know. But it's a high paying job. It's a good one. I do think that regardless of AI, that it will stick around in some form, whether they become they transition maybe even into AI specialists or something. But there's one that we know day in, day out. That's
And we can confirm.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Next one along.
Enterprise and software architect / manager. So we're looking for the range here around $138,933 to $142,355. Very interesting.
Yeah, so they're normally, running the IT network.
That's quite similar to below.
It is, yeah.
They're just the one step above
basically
in terms of tier.
Yeah, so the others do the security of it, whereas these people are normally upgrading and improving it, basically implementing all the hardware and software, all the installation, staying on top of trends and basically in this digital age, just keeping versatile on their toes and making sure that they're evolving and adapting as they should be. And then probably helping the guys in the security team manage the risks associated, I guess. So far, 2 in tech.
Yeah, 2 tech right now.
So if you're out there...
I wonder if the next one will be tech number 13.
We'll find out in a minute. But if you're out there and you're trying to get a good wage and you're good with computers, you like a bit of tech, so far you've got a pretty good strike rate, 135 to 142K. Oh, the next one along is a director. So just a director of any company by the sounds of it. Average salary about $154,358 per year. And, we all know what a director is, I'd assume. They're just the senior executive in any company. They run the company. They're in charge of it. They manage it. They do the long-term, short-term operations, all the organising, oversee all the staff, where the company's heading, projects, and manage the employees.
I wonder if this director also includes entrepreneurs, like your own director, because the average salary here is $154,000. Obviously, if you're your own director of your own company, you could be making a whole different range up to the mill or even beyond that. So I wonder if this has included entrepreneurs.
It absolutely will. What it'll be is it'll be based on, how you do all the surveys and on your tax and everything, what your role is.
Yeah.
It'll be people who have ticked director and they've taken the average out of that. Next one along, I have a feeling we're going back to where we were
tech.
before.
And we are. There we go.
We are. An ICT manager, 138,614.
That's dropped off.
I'm confused why that is.
Why has that dropped down in value?
This list is magical.
We'll just disregard that one. Move up to 11. There we go. We're back up.
I mean, we'll read it anyway because maybe we'll just say change it around, or maybe it's because directors vary so much. This one might be a bit more consistent. I don't know why they've changed the list around on us here, but ICT, they do direction, performance, and all the technical aspects of the IT network specifically. So they're normally basically working directly alongside
Oversee the software.
the architect and the managers. So they pretty close to one in the same. Maybe that's why it's a bit odd, but we'll move along there. Jump straight into the next one, which is
Engineering manager.
beautiful.
There we go. So generally, those are individuals who oversee teams of engineers and plan all the operations, like the projects.
And based on clients we've met that are civil engineers or people like that, we've actually seen this wage is pretty similar to what we do see day in, day out as well. 161 grand. I feel like going to school, everyone knows engineers get paid pretty well, and a few people go and do engineering at uni. They always drop out or do something different because I hear it's pretty boring to do, the course that is in uni. But engineering, 160K, pretty good pay, nearly double the average Australian wage. So if anyone wants to
That's nice.
earn some good dollars and likes engineering, go get into it.
Top 10.
Oh, now we're getting to the fun stuff. So
Oh, an investment advisor. So only a little bit more, $169,000. Generally just applying statistics and maths to analyze the financial data and risk management for a company. And if the company trying to help them make good business decisions. So qualifications for this one, generally a bachelor's degree in any finance related field. And then I guess it's, once you get your foot in the door, you can make your way up, and if you put in the hours, because I know investment advisors and managers, they work some pretty ridiculous hours.
yeah, a lot of them do. And obviously having a master's in, mathematical finance would be quite advantageous if you wanted to go down this route. But yeah, if you're someone, it sounds like me actually, if you're someone who loves numbers, a bit of stats, a bit of math, you love finance, risk management, go ahead and get into something like this. You don't necessarily have to love maths in the school, because I certainly didn't. It was very boring for me. But 169K to do what you love, go do it, jump into it. And it's actually not that difficult. Like, it's so in demand. I mean, difficult to land the job if you've got the qualifications. It's something that every company needs and wants.
Mm.
They're really in demand. There's not a huge amount of them, and a lot of companies will employ more than one. So, not a terrible one to jump into. Next one along is a mining engineer, coming in at number 9. Now we're getting up to the 200K mark. This is at 196,000 per year. And some mining engineers are generally in charge of, evaluating, planning, overseeing the construction of mines. So they do all the actual tunnel work and that, figure out the construction of it, if they're underground, what support beams and everything they need and how it's going to work. And they normally collaborate with like geologists and do the surveys of the mineral deposits and everything, and then help with the staffing and all of that too. So another engineering one, qualifications for this, you normally need a bachelor in engineering and, mining or geotechnical engineering as well. Generally speaking, they reckon it's about 3 or 4 years to do that. And then after 2 years, as a graduate engineer, if you want to go the other way, is basically jump straight in and become a professional mining engineer after 2 years in the graduate.
Yeah, you know your mining. So another drop off from the previous job. This one, $177,000 is a CEO or managing director, and I'm not sure why this is number 8 as opposed to number 9.
Well, the way I've seen, like, if you look at this,
It probably varies.
you've got the CEO or managing director, which is they've gone back, and then you've got director where they went back as well.
Mm.
I think that means that the two, like this one and the previous one, must vary so much that they're like, oh, we'll just put it there because the range is so high.
Well, yeah, a CEO or a managing director is the most senior position in a company, mainly in charge of managing the operations, organization, all of its staff and the resources. So qualifications for this is a business related bachelor's degree. It can vary, whatever business relation that is. Also, another big one is on job experience. So there's so many CEOs or directors nowadays who actually don't have a degree, who have just been in a startup, and then the startup's grown and they've been it from the start and they've grown with the company, and then all of a sudden they are the head of it, or they have started their own company without going to uni. Especially with the technology right in front of our fingertips, it's so easy just to be your own CEO and have your online business and make quite a bit of money. Like
Yeah,
here's 177K, which is a lot of money, especially for if you're in your 20s.
yeah, and you see a lot of people too that are really good in their job, and the actual director will start promoting them and they work their way through. And then eventually they go, all right, well, I might take a bit of a step back. You're now the managing director and you take over from there. So that's an interesting one to have on there. The next one along is 193,000, which again is a drop off from the mining engineer. So very confused of this list by monarch.edu.au. We're going to throw them out there and tell
It's
them that
exposed.
they've confused us a bit. We're a bit baffled. Judicial or other legal professionals. That's pretty self explanatory. We know about the legal sector. We know what judges are. We know what tribunal members are. Doctor. There's a bunch of
And
different
this one,
things.
you have to have a Bachelor of Law to get in here.
Yeah, and
It's not like a CEO or managing director where you can kind of wing it. This one is you actually need the paperwork to get through the door.
yeah, there's a fair bit of work involved in this, and you've got to go through different roles and stuff to progress into other ones. I remember when I did legal studies, we're talking about how long you have to be in certain things to be able to go into another thing. Like, as in, you can't just go straight to being a judge.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's an interesting one. If you love law, but you want to sit there for 5 years of your life doing things and going through university, and I hear it's a tough gig. I've got a friend who does law, and um, yeah, they struggle with their studies a bit and the commitment of that. And our solicitor as well went through that whole shenanigan of doing it and said she wouldn't wish it upon her worst enemy.
No,
So
there you go.
moving on.
Other medical practitioners. Now we're jumping up quite a bit here. $251,000. So this is quite a nice jump from the 193s. Um, but basically, these are like dermatologists, emergency medicine specialists, and pathologists. So qualifications, it's like the legal professionals. You need degrees. Like you need a medical degree from uni. You need an internship for at least 1 year. You need to be on the Medical Board of Australia and be registered there, as well as I think it's 1 or 2 years of training on deck, like actually physically training of it.
Yeah, pre-vocational.
And then you can get through. But there's a lot to do with it. And you've really got to be committed to getting into it, especially if you're wanting to start your career early. Like if you know this is what you want to do from a young age at school, get a head start because this is a career where it takes time, not just you can jump into it.
It does take a long time. One of my friends just graduated as a doctor, and then from there, if you want to get up to this sort of salary, you kind of specialize in something specific.
Mm.
And to do that, you need to stick it out and then transition into that. So, yeah, this would strictly be specific niches, like, as you said, dermatologist, pathologist, and that kind of thing. And there's a bunch of different specialties. The ones that we do not mention moving forward will be included in this. The ones that we mention will be paying above this.
Yeah,
So
there's
we'll
many
move
other
forward.
medical practitioners than dermatologists and the ones we spoke about.
Yeah, there's more in that bracket. But as we move up the list, I guarantee there'll be more medical professionals that don't fall into this category because they get so much more. For example, moving up, number 5, psychiatrists, 270K per year. We know what a psychiatrist is, very popular in today's day and age. I was actually doing a little bit of research earlier, and if we go back to 2007, people between 15 and 24, how many of them do you reckon back then were reporting mental health illness
Not many.
within 1 year?
Not many.
You'd be shocked. It was about 20%.
Really?
Yeah.
Even back then.
Yeah.
So
Which
I
is a
feel like
lot.
it's got a lot more popular, or people are talking about it now these days.
It's more popular. It's in trend.
Well, people talk about it like
Yeah, they do.
it's a thing which is actually spoken about. Back then, when did you say 2009,
2007.
2007? Yeah, I don't remember it being spoken about often.
The most recent study available on it, within a 1 year period, was about 45%
Yeah,
of people between 15 and 24 had reported mental
and that is
illness
why that's number 5 on the list.
in the last 12-month period.
Yeah, it's
So,
ridiculous.
like, imagine how many would like experience it in their lifetime then.
Mm,
If that's in a 12-month period, it's crazy to think about.
yeah,
I don't even want to know. But yeah, I can confirm, like, even just, I understand that we're still young, so I'd hate to see it from an older person's perspective. But the change that's occurred just during our lifetime of people, going through it, suicide rates, especially in men, um, and just the level of people who are, going through depression or anxiety or whatever it be and getting on the medications. I've seen it be at least tripled from what I used to see.
Mm, yeah, it's becoming a big thing.
So people like, in their 50s, in their 60s and stuff, I'd love to get their perspective on it. In fact, it'd probably be fun to.
And even our Uber driver the other day basically said he's had so many people around him in the last 12 months like take their own lives. And he
Mm,
talked to us about his nephew who was what 30, I think,
yeah.
roughly, who took his own life literally like 2 weeks ago,
Hmm.
just for example. So it's happening everywhere and it's insane.
I can't even count on my hands and toes combined how many people I know that have killed themselves.
Mm.
That's crazy. Moving along to the next job, which is
There you
funny.
go.
It's another
Yeah.
medical
Another med.
field, internal medicine specialist. I don't actually know what that means, so I'm going to
But
read
I
about.
like the salary though, 334 grand.
It
That is a nice salary.
is a good salary. We're getting up there now. 330K is a lot. We've got a little blurb here. So they're trained to diagnose, manage, and treat complex and complicated or difficult to diagnose health disorders. And they normally consult with other practitioners or subspecialties, with diseases, cardiology, geriatric medicine. So ultimately, it's just someone who, if there's something going on that, your regular doctor might know, they call in this professional by the seams of it, and they come in and help diagnose difficult to diagnose disorders, I should say. So that's a very interesting one. The list of qualifications
All right,
goes on and
so
on and
this is
on.
when it gets
So
pretty intense.
that's
Number
if you've
four.
gone through medicine and you go, oh, I want to be some kind of specialist. This one looks like it's promising.
Number three, a financial dealer. So this is a salary of $341,000. So I'm assuming this one here is around like accountants, economists, etc. Because the blurb doesn't really say too much. It says financial dealers analyze social trends, market conditions, and government regulations, as well as analyze and interpret their clients' financial circumstances in order to buy and sell commodities for a profit. So maybe
So
like a
they're
mortgage broker,
basically no, that's more
not a mortgage, a stockbroker.
stockbroking, yeah. So they'd actually be registered with
Yeah,
um, ASIC, and they're cleared to
yeah,
basically
it's one of the
trade
qualifications.
as a
Apply
financial
for
dealer.
yeah, so a stockbroker, have a degree in commerce, accounting, finance, or economics, and then yeah, apply as Zeke said for a license through ASIC, and then once you're accepted there, you're clear to trade. So
Yeah,
that's what it would be. It'd be a stockbroker,
yeah, it's basically a
financial
finance
dealer.
broker. So that's interesting.
Number
That's up
three,
there.
yeah,
And we have anaesthetist. So
big jump,
more medicine. I feel like everyone knows that this is up there in the top three.
and
It's
we love
always
them.
talked about.
Put you to sleep.
We do love them. They help you go to bed. Um, so anyone who doesn't know, the anaesthetist is basically when you're getting a surgery, they control the drugs to like knock you out, give you the laughing gas or whatever, and they basically are in charge of making sure that you don't wake up during that procedure and that you can wake up
Mm.
afterwards. So
Yeah,
very
it's a
important.
pretty hefty job.
Yeah, if they get it, whatever they're injecting you with by, maybe a couple mils out, you're probably going to die.
Mm.
So they're a very important job, and I'm happy to have them because when I got my wisdom teeth out, I did not want to be awake.
Same with my nose.
And yeah, just waking up
Wake
felt,
up comfortable.
yeah, I wouldn't say I was comfortable.
Mate, I love waking up after that.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so good.
I hated it.
This is when I broke my nose twice, both times, just waking up. So you feel like you've had such good sleep.
I do recall actually when I woke up, there was a lady next to me in the bed, not in, not in my bed, there was two beds next to each other.
Oh
And
yeah.
I looked over and I thought I recognized her and started waving. I was like, hey, how'd you go? Turns out I didn't know. I was just
oh,
waving at some poor random little girl.
oh no.
And I was like, oh, it's a bit awkward.
Oh no.
And then I sat there for a while, didn't feel too good. I ended up vomiting actually as well. Everything went wrong with that surgery, so
That's not a good
we'll move
surgery.
we'll move on from there.
So that's number two. And
Um,
then number one,
the big one
neurosurgeon.
that does
There
make
we go.
sense. There's a huge lack of them. A huge lack.
$604,000.
Yeah.
Insane. So
So
brain surgeon, spinal spinal cord, and also your nerves. So anything affecting your nervous system, neurosurgeons will sort it out. Qualifications here, quite extensive.
Not even going to read them out. There's too many.
There are a lot of them. And the years to become a neurosurgeon would be insane.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different types of surgeons we should note. Like, you know, you've got reconstructive surgeons, like plastic surgeons and stuff, and they still actually earn a good amount of money, like 500K and so on. But neurosurgeons are the very top, and they're basically doing all the in-depth surgeries on your brain and stuff. I remember this is like a fuck statistic. I remember a statistic that stuck with me because my someone close to our family recently had a huge
That's right.
neuro issue, and they were actually flown to the hospital and taken care of. And they were figuring out, oh, which hospital can we fly her to because we need a neurosurgeon. And the interesting thing was that really shocked me. There's only 119 practicing neurosurgeons in Australia right now.
It's insane.
119 in the whole country. So, yeah, they deserve their 600K wage.
Oh, yeah.
And anyone out there that wants to get into it, definitely do it because, I mean, you're going to make a whole bunch of money.
Plus,
you're going to save
the country
lives,
needs it.
and we desperately need it. Like, yeah, neurosurgeons right now are under the pump. They're busy literally 24/7. And, I mean, it just needs to be done. 119 in the whole country. I wonder how many there is in the world.
Insane.
Let's have a quick Google. Only 50,000. So in the whole world, a quick Google, there's only about 50,000 in the whole world, which is not many when you consider how many people there is.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem. We need to.
Australia letting everyone down. Their numbers.
Yeah, well, when you've got 119 people servicing like 28 million,
It is ridiculous.
how's that going to work? And you've got car crashes, you've got people having strokes, and you've got all these different things happening around the world, or around the country, I should say specifically. And then you've got to find a neurosurgeon who can actually get in there and get stuff done. And then, like, how do they
The backlog
prioritize?
as well would be
Yeah,
backlog of surgeries.
yeah, that's right. And you'd be prioritizing the stuff that's like imminent death
Yeah.
or imminent brain damage and stuff. And you're like, okay, well, good luck.
Mm.
So that's a crazy statistic. But they're the top 15 paying wages and jobs in Australia right now, as of 2024.
And we'll redo that next year because I think it will change.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one to watch. It's been pretty similar the last couple of years, but I do think there's going to be a couple of changes coming up, especially in like the AI realm. I think there'll be more jobs that come in related to that. But yeah, go out there, look for one of these 15 jobs, and I'm pretty sure you'll be
happy,
very happy with your
once you
your income.
get the qualifications sorted.
Your stress levels might go up, but then you can go and help the psychiatrist by paying them more as well. So maybe just become a psychiatrist and you'll be happy.
Happy days.
Ciao. Catch you next time. We hope you enjoyed the episode. As always, you know exactly what to do.
Hit that follow button, subscribe, whatever platform you listen to this podcast on. Also share it to friends, families, co-workers, whoever you think may benefit from it. But unfortunately, it's the end, and we'll see you next week.